Okay, YouTubers, Facebookers, IGers. I'm actually on here talking about this big blow up movie um regarding Bird Box that is just the talk of all social media, all everywhere across the board. And out of all the movies on Netflix, this movie has really hit a lot of people in different ways and aspects and what their perception of this movie is about. And everybody has their own perception of this movie. My perception is a spiritual perception regarding this movie that is so deep that it's unbelievable. What was amazing in the beginning of the movie was you see this woman talking to her two kids about what not to do and what to do, and if you do it, this is what's going to happen, which is what happens in everyday life. You try to talk to your children about what not to do and what to do and what's going to happen if you do it. All right. Then it goes flips back to where it talks where she's pregnant and she's painting a picture about how she's feeling. She's lonely. She doesn't want to leave the house. She's feeling a certain kind of way. It's just her like looking at things in a certain aspect. And she's talking to her sister like, you can go ahead and you can go ahead and buy food for me. Well, let's go ahead to the clinic so that we can talk to the doctor. But she's actually at the doctor thinking about possibly not keeping this child that she's pregnant with. Um, it goes where she's passing by different people before she even goes to see the doctor, and then she sees the same person again, um, and she's committing suicide. I'm flipping back to where she's heard on TV all this stuff going on, which is what goes on in everyday life. We hear and we see everything that's going on that's negative, and we just pass by it and say, oh, okay, well, this is what's going on. It's there. It's not here. Um, I'm flipping back to where she sees this girl again, I'm sorry, at the hospital, and she commits suicide and she's hitting her head. They're running to the car like everything it's here, it's coming, it's here. Her sister's driving the car, and it gets to the point where she ends up almost killing her sister and her, but they both make it out, and she and her sister ends up committing suicide because whatever she saw, she looked into the light and she saw what's going on in the world, and she ended up committing suicide. It goes all into a serious, deep, dark thing where all these people are seeing this thing, and when they look, they just kill themselves, which is what's happening in this world today. You look into this world, you're doing these negative and things that you feel that you need to do. When you're looking at, when people have anxiety attacks and panic attacks, and it make them do things that out the ordinary they wouldn't do because of everyday life that hits them. So this thing that they looked at in their eyes just hit them. But then you had people that didn't absolutely see it, that was probably in another world, went into this house. It was about 5 or 6 or 7 different people that went into the house, and they were in the house and they were trying to figure out what it is and what's going on. Everybody had their own perception of what it was and what it could be and what this is going to be and what we can do to save each other, which that's what people try to do. They try to do everything they can to save each other, and that's what they were trying to do. They're trying to work together, find food. This woman is pregnant, and they're all trying to figure out ways of trying to save each other. They go to a supermarket, and they go to the market to buy food to save everybody. You have one person said, we could just stay here. Selfishness. Selfishness. We could just stay here and we can leave them behind. But that one girl that was pregnant was like, no, that's being, you know what she said. We can't do that. We cannot just leave them. We're going to have to take the food back to the house. They sacrificed. They sacrificed to save others. They went back to the house, and they were trying to feed, everything was fine. It was, trying to figure out each other. And this other pregnant woman comes in. This other pregnant woman comes in. They save her. They blindfold her. They realize that if they look at this thing, they're not going to make it. They're going to die. If they look at whatever's out there, they're not going to make it. They're going to die. This pregnant woman in there. Two of them in there. They talk and they're trying to feel each other out. They try to understand each other. I'm kind of flipping in between the movie. I'm kind of going back and forth, but you know what happened in the movie. The two pregnant women are trying to figure out each other out, and the one pregnant girl is trying to explain to her what she wants to name her daughter and how she's having a girl. Their dates are so close together. They both have the baby at the same time. Isn't this amazing? Prior to, again, I'm flipping back and forth. Prior to, the pregnant girl, before she even had the baby, she went into labor. She let someone in because he was faking out as if he was, please let me in, please let me in. As you know how people are, they're fakers. They're trying to be your friend. They try to do this, and the whole time all they're doing is trying to get you where they are. They're not in the right place. So they're trying to do everything they can to open your eyes to what they see so that they can take you to a whole nother level of where you don't want to be. Anyway, he knocking, help me, please let me in. Please let me in. And this poor vulnerable pregnant girl was like, I was just thinking that I was going to help him, and the whole time she was hurting everybody else. Flipping back. So she has them, these two pregnant women are about to have the baby. They're about to have the baby. One has hers, the original one, that's really not selfish, even though she was thinking about in the beginning of given the baby up for adoption, but something in the midst of it stopped her from making that decision because it was so much drama and turmoil going on. She can't think about that right now. She's thinking about saving herself and her baby now. Okay? Sacrifice. Again, she was sacrificing. So, she have the baby, they both have the baby at the same time, and this devilish man, which is devilish people in this world, comes in and try to flip all the curtains down to try to get everybody to look at the light to see what he sees. And he did it. One person, he went and he took her, let her see she seen. This girl has the baby in her arms. And the one woman that said she wasn't even prepared to have a child said, give me the baby, please. And the girl goes and jumps out the window. This girl goes and jumps out of the window. Then this devilish man again goes and do it to the other lady and pulls her eyes back, is what people do. They try to pull you into where they are. Pulling you into where they are, where that's not where you want to be. But some kind of way people are so devilish, they are trying to pull you where they are. So the poor old lady kills herself, takes a knife and kills herself in the neck. Then you got this other guy that's trying to save everybody, that's willing to sacrifice everything as well. So you got the other guy, and you got this woman, and the two babies now. The whole time in the beginning of the story, she was alone, by herself, trying to figure out stuff. That's why she did that painting. It's like a loneliness she was having. Now she went from, even though it was all this turmoil and drama, from being lonely in her mind to having two kids and this man. So they're all together in one house for 5 years. 5 years they're together. And then it got to a point where he had to do what he had to do because there were people coming after them. This woman lost hope and almost gave her kids almost to lose hope. And he said, you gave these kids name boy and girl because you didn't even have any, you didn't give them names. She said, I sacrificed everything for these kids. I did everything for these kids. They talked. You either got these people after them, and they were just about to kill all of them. They had a walkie-talkie where they were able to talk to somebody that was that was where safety was. And where the safety was a place that they wasn't sure if it was real or whatever, but they figured out from just being on the walkie-talkie saying, well, you have to look into the light. And they said they have to wear blindfolds. So they realized that it was a legit situation with the microphone, with the walkie-talkie. He was unable to go. He couldn't go. The guy couldn't go. He had to say, okay, well, because he realized that the people were after them, and it was either him, the woman, and them kids. And he sacrificed himself for the woman and those kids. The moral of this entire story is so amazing and uplifting, and it's so beautiful because he did what he had to do to save his family. And she realized that it was really somebody out there that cared about her, and then she even elevated to having 2 other kids amongst the situation. And he looked into the light because he had to do what he had to do because he had to save them. But that woman never looked. She was so strong, despite the fact she didn't think she was so strong to be able to raise a child and also feel alone. Not 1, but 2 kids. She realized how much strength she had. She didn't even think she had. So she goes into this river for days, and she was just a fighter, and she knew how to do this, and she told them kids, if this happens, if you do this, you will not make it. And them kids listened. But the one girl she yelled at, and the one girl didn't, almost lost hope. And it was a little thing in the ear that was in her ear, like, oh, maybe, acting like she's mommy, like, go ahead, take the blindfold off. Them little things that goes on in your head, that flies in your head and be saying, go ahead, do it. Go ahead, do it. Take the blindfold off. Take it off. Go ahead, smoke that cigarette. Go ahead, do that. Go ahead, sniff that dope. Go ahead and drink that alcohol. Go ahead and have sex with that man. Go ahead and do all these things that you know that is wrong. Go ahead, do it. Take the blindfold off. Take it off. Take it off. And these people were determined to take the blindfold off. And then people were making them take the blindfold off. But this woman was so strong that she was determined she was not going to take that blindfold off with the 2 kids. That's called sacrifice for them kids. She sacrificed everything for them kids. One that wasn't hers and one that was hers. She sacrificed. And them kids fought also with her. And she told that little girl, I'm sorry, please come back to me. And she said in the woods, don't take my children, which is what goes on in everyday life when when everyday life, worldly world try to take our children with all of these substances and things that happen. All these things is just so, it pulls us and pulls our children in. And she said, don't take my children, please. That little girl came to her, and they made it to safety. And them birds is that little thing in your ear. It's always warning before destruction. And them birds was something that was saving them. And it's always something saving you. And you don't know it, but it's there. It's always something saving you. They went through that river, that river that could have killed them. Them children fought with their mother. And that's what these kids today need to do, is fight with their parents and try to work with them and don't work against them. She said, if this happens, this is what's going on. These kids are 5 years old. This bird box is deeper than what you think it is. It's not something, it has a demonic-ish thing in it that has something to do with, the demons. But that's what's going on in this world. Demonic. That's what's going on in this world. But it was more of a spiritual aspect because you need to start, just close your eyes to certain things and do the right thing. Because you'll open your eyes and look at things and say, and end up committing suicide and killing yourself. Substance abuse, alcohol, drugs, being promiscuous. All of them things that you're doing. All the anxiety, when you was looking in them eyes, that was just a whole bunch of stuff going on. And you end up killing yourself. You don't physically kill yourself. And some people do physically kill yourself, but you're killing yourself by doing the things that you don't have any business doing. And then birds was something ringing in your ear to say danger, danger, don't do it, don't do it. Them little voices that be in your head that say, go ahead, go do it, when you know you're not supposed to do it. That movie was deeper than what you think. And that's my perception of Bird Box.